In this video, I'll break down the most anticipated upcoming PlayStation games currently being developed by Sony's first-party studios. Whether you're waiting for sequels, new IPs, or surprise reveals, here's everything we know so far. One of the upcoming releases is Ghost of Yotei. It's a spiritual successor to Ghost of Tsushima, featuring a new map, new mechanics, and a new main character. Don't expect anything radically new. It's going to be a high-quality action game with camp clearing, progression, and a typical feudal Japanese setting. Next up is the extraction shooter Marathon, which has a chance to succeed, but only if the game is made free-to-play and accessible. The release was originally planned for late September, but it was delayed due to criticism and copyright issues. The developers promised to polish everything and make the game ultra-hyped. Whether they succeed or not, we'll find out closer to the end of the year. In early 2026, we're expecting an ambitious project called Saros from Housemarque, the studio that gave us Resogun, Alienation, and Returnal. Almost nothing is known about the game yet, except for one cinematic trailer. Presumably, it's going to be a dynamic sci-fi roguelike in the spirit of Returnal, only larger in scale and with a new brutal main character. Somewhere in 2026, we should finally see the long-awaited Marvel's Wolverine game. It's going to be a brutal slasher where we'll play as Logan and tear through criminal syndicates battling iconic mutants like Sabretooth, Mystique, and Magneto. Another interesting 2026 release is Marvel TOKON. It's a new live service game from PlayStation and their first attempt to break into the fighting game genre. Not classic fighting games, though. These are team-based, with each player controlling 3 characters at once. Thanks to the powerful Marvel license, the game has a shot at success. At the end of 2026, we might see the return of Uncharted, either as a direct sequel or as a full remake of the first game. Naughty Dog has already confirmed that it's working on 2 projects at once. While Neil Druckmann is experimenting with a space-themed concept, the second team is focused on something more familiar and safe. And since The Last of Us Part 3 is being handled by Druckmann, and the other franchises have long been on ice, it makes sense to assume they're talking about Uncharted. If Uncharted gets delayed, then in 2026, we'll most likely see the return of Horizon, but this time as an online MMO. It'll be a game with a large open world, robot battles, character progression, and the usual fetch quests. In 2027, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet will be released, an ambitious project from Neil Druckmann that has already made waves because of its main heroine. The game hasn't even launched yet, but the debates around it have already flooded the internet. The gameplay promises to be solid, smooth animations, a stylish Souls-like approach to combat, and a large open world created by the same team behind The Last of Us Part 2. But the story will likely be controversial and spark tons of discussion, so much so that the game will split the audience into 2 camps, as has already happened with previous Naughty Dog projects. Besides Intergalactic, 2027 is also expected to bring a VENOM game, a standalone project that grew out of the expansion for Spider-Man 2. The game will be relatively short, like Miles Morales, around 10 to 15 hours. Developers will most likely reuse the gameplay mechanics from Spider-Man 2, slightly improve the graphics, and adapt movement to fit the bulky Venom. If the insiders are to be believed, 2027 will also bring us the final chapter of the Horizon trilogy, the last part of Aloy's story. This time she'll have to fight galactic forces and save her home from a rampaging artificial intelligence. The scale promises to be epic, and the ending, emotional. From a gameplay perspective, the New Horizon likely won't differ much from Forbidden West. We're just getting new locations, enemies, and a couple of fresh weapons for Aloy's arsenal. Everything else will remain familiar, both visually and mechanically. If Aloy's adventures aren't really your thing, you might be more interested in the finale of Peter Parker's story. Around the same time, Spider-Man 3 from Insomniac is expected. There's not much to say about it. It's clear that it'll be a visually enhanced version of Spider-Man 2. Story-wise, we're likely to see the appearance of the Green Goblin, the heroic rise of Miles Morales, and most likely Peter's farewell as Spider-Man. But what's really worth talking about is the new God of War from Santa Monica Studio. There are tons of rumors surrounding it, and it seems the project is already in some stage of development. But what it will be like is still a mystery. One theory says it's a prequel that returns to Greece. Another suggests Kratos will travel to Egypt. And a third claims it'll be a 2D action game in the style of Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. There's also speculation that there won't be a new GOW at all, and instead we'll get either a remaster collection or a full remake of the first game. Also, closer to the release of the PlayStation 6, we can expect the return of ASTRO Bot. It's unclear what the title will be, ASTRO Bot 2 or something more imaginative. But one thing's clear. The project is already in development and is being designed specifically for the new generation. We can confidently expect a solid, high-quality platformer. ASTRO Bot will be another flagship title for the next-gen console. Expect more levels, nods to iconic PlayStation characters, dozens of new cameos, and chill gameplay. Everything people loved about the first game. Another confirmed exclusive for the next PlayStation will be Gran Turismo 8. Development has already been confirmed, and according to rumors, there's no need to expect any major changes from the series. It's still the same hardcore racing simulator, a game for the fans that doesn't intend to change its course. As for The Last of Us Part 3, it's probably the most anticipated and the most distant game among all upcoming exclusives. Neil Druckmann has already stated clearly that he will only start working on it after Intergalactic, so the release will most likely happen in the next decade. Only the youngest fans will get to see the end of Ellie's story because the older ones probably won't live long enough to wait for it. Besides all the big projects mentioned, Sony also has a couple of timed exclusives bought from third-party studios. First, there's the final part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, the conclusion of Cloud's story, his friends, and the epic battle with Sephiroth. Gameplay-wise, the game will be close to the second part. A few more locations and expanded skill tree, but no major changes. Square Enix has already found its perfect formula and doesn't plan to change it. And although the company has moved away from Sony exclusives, this game will still only come out on PlayStation. The contract was signed back in 2016, and Sony financed the project. Second, there's PHYSINT, a new spy action game from Hideo Kojima in the spirit of Metal Gear Solid. The game is being developed especially for fans of the cult series and promises to be a stylish, cinematic stealth action. So the coming years look promising for PlayStation. We can expect both sequels to cult series and completely new projects across various genres. Of course, not all games will come out soon. Some titles will only appear on the next generation. But it's already clear that Sony continues to focus on big single-player adventures and strong stories. Yes, some projects cause debates and distrust, but that's normal. The industry evolves, and not all changes are liked at first glance. The main thing is that players will have plenty to choose from action games to MMOs, and from remakes to new IPs. Write in the comments which of these games you're most looking forward to. And if you liked the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Happy gaming and see you in the next reviews!